All right, everybody, what is going on? Good afternoon. Hope you guys enjoyed the show with the Hawk's Nest earlier. If you didn't catch it live, definitely check out the VOD. We go over a lot of stuff as it pertains to the Seahawks this offseason. But obviously, I like to continue to go through things solo on this channel. And we are going to retread some of the ground that we went over in that show in this video. But I think that it's important to offer different perspectives on things. So we are going to do the first part of our discussion of restricted free agents for the Seattle Seahawks. And the Seahawks have, I believe, 7 restricted free agents this offseason, if I remember correctly. And they have decisions to make on all 7 of them. Some of them are going to be easy, some of them not so much. So first, let's talk about what a restricted free agent is and how the fact that they're restricted changes how the Seahawks negotiate with them. All right, everybody, before we go any further into this video, I want to take a minute to tell you guys about the Sleeper app and some new functionality they've recently rolled out, Team Picks. With Team Picks, you can pick winners in all kinds of sporting events. Right now, we have NBA basketball, college basketball, NHL hockey is going on, baseball's going to start in a little more than a month, and of course, you have futures in the NFL, even though the games in the NFL are over. Right now, if you look to my left here, you can actually see you can bet on next year's Super Bowl winner. They've got the Seahawks leading the way in those odds, by the way, at 12%. How does that make you feel as a Seahawks fan? But you can bet on MVP, you can bet on draft picks, you can bet on player destinations, all kinds of fun stuff, even though the season is over. So that is Team Picks over on Sleeper. A lot of fun stuff you can do. If an NFL player is a restricted free agent, then what it means is that the team that they were on the previous year, in this case, we're talking, of course, about Seahawks restricted free agents, then that team can choose to place a 1-year restricted tender on the player at a preset amount, and the player has to either agree to, sign the tender and then play for the team that year at that price, or basically just sit at home. Now, it's a little bit different because the amount of money is a lot higher than exclusive rights. If you saw the exclusive rights free agents video earlier today, you'll know that that sounds very familiar. This is different because the money is a lot higher and also other teams can get involved. So if a team covets a player that another team places a restricted tender on, they do have the option to top the offer and get the player, but there are some rules. So first, the team that is placing the tender on the player has to choose which tender they use. There are 3 options. There is the lowest tender, which is about 3.5 million this year. There is the second lowest, which is 5.8 this year, and then there's the highest, which is 8.1 this year. If they place the lowest tender on the player, then the only thing they get is the right of first refusal. So let's say you place right of first refusal on a player, and then another team, say the Minnesota Vikings, comes in and is like, okay, we want to top the offer to get the player. So we're going to offer him 1 year 3.6. Then the only thing that happens is that the original team, the Seahawks, can then say, no, we're going to go to 1 year 3.7. And then you can keep going up the ladder until eventually one of the teams blinks. But basically, you have the right of first refusal. It just means that you can choose to top the offer that another team has made that is above what you're offering, if that makes sense. Now, if it's the second level, which is the 5.8 million, same thing applies. Another team like the Vikings can come in and say, we want that player. We're going to offer them 1 year, 5.9 million. Basically, a contract that comes out to being worth more than the tender. Now, in this instance, here's what happens. The Seahawks can either top the offer. So let's say the Vikings go to like 1 year, 5.9. The Seahawks can go, I want to go 1 year, 6 million. Then the Vikings could go, I guess, 1.6.1, and then the Seahawks could go 6.2, yada, yada, yada. Or the Seahawks could go, we're not going to match, we're not going to top it. we're going to let the player go, but the Vikings now owe us their second round pick. It's like a trade now. So in this instance, you're paying a little bit more, but if a team covets the player enough to be willing to pay them more than the 5.8, then you also get their second round pick if they get the player. And then for the first round tender, which is about 8.1 million, same thing. If another team comes in and offers him more than the tender, you can either top the offer or you can say, okay, take him, but we also get your first round pick back. So it's a little bit of a gamble with what tender you use on a player. And if you are an opposing team that covets a player, you have to be a little bit wary of what you're giving back it's basically a trade. So that's how restricted free agency works this year. And these amounts change every year, by the way. Now, the Seahawks have 7 restricted free agents. The most interesting one by far is Drake Thomas. Drake Thomas is a restricted free agent, about to turn 26 years old, just had his breakout season, started a majority of the year for the Seahawks, took over for I I don't really know what was going on, but there was something obviously not right with Tyrese Knight. And Drake Thomas came in and played really well, almost 100 tackles, 3.5 sacks, had the interception in the final game of the year, was all around a good, solid player. He held up decently well in coverage. He wasn't amazing, but he was totally fine in coverage, no real issues. He was a good blitzer. Pro Football Focus thought he was solid in all areas, and they graded him well overall for the season. So this is a good player, and he's young. He's coming into his own. This is somebody that other teams might covet. Now, if you place the right of first refusal tag on him, do I think a team is going to come in and offer him more than 1 year, 3.5 million? Yeah, I do. Do I think that if you put the first round tender on him, a team would be willing to give him more than 8.1 million and their first round pick? No. So therefore, if the goal is to keep Drake Thomas, then I think the restricted tender you're looking at is the middle one. 1 year, 5.8 million, and if somebody tops it, they also owe you a second round pick. I mean, you take a look at linebacker contracts in the NFL right now. Yes, it's mostly depressed. There are not that many high profile linebackers in the league right now, but you've got guys like Derek Barnes, 3 years, 24 million. That's 8 million per year. Kenneth Murray, a couple years ago, got almost 8 million a year from the Cowboys. Baron Browning got 15 million, 7.5 million per year from the Cardinals. These guys are not anything special. These guys are, in the case of Kenneth Murray, I don't even think he's a good player. Baron Browning is not really a full-time starter. He's not really capable of being a good full-time starter. I think Drake Thomas has shown more in that 1 year than a guy like a Kenneth Murray or a Baron Browning has ever really shown. And you keep going down the list here, you're going to find some pretty forgettable guys here, like Blake Cashman and Pete Werner. It's comparable, and those guys have multi-year deals worth $7 to $8 million. So, do I think a team would offer more than 5.8 million and their second round pick to get Drake Thomas? I don't think so, but I guess I can't completely rule it out. And it's not a very good draft, right? Giving up your second rounder in this draft doesn't mean what it usually means to give up a second rounder. So I think you're going that middle level, or you're trying to come to a multi-year deal. Maybe you'd prefer to just get a multi-year deal out of the way and not mess around with the restricted tender, because you could get a multi-year deal done with a first-year cap hit that is less than 5.8 million, or you could hope that somebody picks him up at 5.8 million, let him go, get the second round pick back, and then you're rolling with Tyrese Knight in 2026. Maybe you like Tyrese more, and you just know that Tyrese Knight had his season messed up by the heart condition in 2025. But that is the interesting one, really, to me. 5.8 million, second round tender. Would anybody bite? I refuse to believe anybody's given up a first round pick, even in a crappy draft, for Drake Thomas, even if 8.1 million would be a reasonable cost for him. And right of first refusal, I think, would just be too easy. Somebody's going to offer at least 4 million. They gotta. The guy just won the Super Bowl as a starter. So I think we're going to go mid-level here, or we're going to try to get to a multi-year deal. Okay, two other guys we're going to talk about real quick in this video, and the decision here is a little more binary. We have to decide if these two players are worth the tender at all. I'm talking about Jake Bobo. Jake Bobo has had some notable plays made in the NFL as a receiver in his past, mostly from the first two seasons. This last season, he didn't do much until the playoffs. But Jake Bobo has proven himself capable of doing something in this league as a receiver. And he's also a relatively prolific special teamer, does play a good amount on special teams, has a good reputation as a blocker. Now, you take a look at Pro Football Focus, they're obviously pretty tepid on him as a blocker. They actually think he's a poor blocker by grade, and they think he's a pretty lackluster special teamer as well. So, I mean, if you listen to PFF, he's not really worth much of anything, but they have appreciated his work in the past, I suppose. So the question is he worth the right of first refusal tag? 3.55 million approximately, 1 year. Is that something you're doing for Jake Bobo? I feel like the answer is no, but if you feel like he's going to give you more as a receiver in 2026, and you also feel like he's a good special teamer and you like his blocking, you can get to the point where he's worth a little under 4 million, right? You have to take a more optimistic view of his abilities as a receiver, right? You need to get him back to the level where he's at least giving you about a catch a game like he did the first 2 years of his career. But you can get there. It's not completely unreasonable. You could get to a point where you look at it and you go, yeah, Jake Bobo can be a player worth 4 million a year to me. I don't completely hate it, and I think it's worth considering. And then you have Brady Russell, who is maybe our most prolific special teamer other than the kicker and the punter, right? Brady Russell is on the field for almost every special team snap. He's only going to be 28 this upcoming year. He plays a little bit outside of special teams, but for the most part, we're talking about a special teamer. He's done some fullback stuff, but last year he was on the field for almost 400 special team snaps. And the team clearly values him, right? The team clearly looks at Brady Russell and goes, this is a guy that we want to have out there as on special teams as much as possible. We think he's very good at it, and they've made him a captain. He was a captain for the Super Bowl. They like Brady Russell. And for whatever it's worth, Pro Football Focus does grade him highly as a special teamer, and he had 14 special teams tackles last year, which I believe leads the team by a long shot. So as far as special teams go, Brady Russell is the guy. So is that much of a contribution worth right of first refusal? Nobody would match that, I don't think. You wouldn't have to worry about that. 1 year, 3.55 million. It's a lot of money for a guy that you're not expecting to do anything for you outside of special teams, but he is such a prolific special teamer. Maybe it's worth it. I would probably be okay with it. I like it more than the Bobo one. I will say that. The Bobo one, I'm having a hard time with. The Brady Russell one, I can see a little bit more, but both are kind of dicey. All right, let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. And that is the restricted free agent tender. And those are some of the players the Seahawks need to make a decision on there. So we'll do more later, but let me know what's up. Let me know how you're feeling. See you soon.